Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome. Welcome to my email marketing trends and conversation talk show. And I'm so happy to do this episode because I have an amazing guest on, and we're going to be shutting down some misconceptions. We're also going to be talking a lot about financial literacy and how anything can happen with a plan. So before we get started, if y'all can do me a favor and type in number 1 in the chat, just want to make sure that you guys are hearing me. My sound is great and everything is all good. For those of you who are new to watching me, I'm Leticia Campbell. I'm actually number 1 email marketing strategist, CEO and founder of the Campbell Success Network, and curator of my email marketing tribe, where I teach very successful entrepreneurs on how to grow and scale their businesses ethically and organically, all through leveraging email marketing. And so for tonight's show, thank you, Diane. See, Diane, you are on it, love. Thank you, love, for the one. Hey, Therese, how are you, sis? Yes, good. So you guys can hear me. So we're good. We're perfect. We're good. So tonight's guest, y'all, make sure y'all have your pen and your paper out, because this show is going to go slightly a little bit faster because I want to give y'all guys a lot of the meat and none of the fat. Okay. So before we jump in, I want to introduce you guys to our guest, Miss Dr. Severine Bryan. She is a financial empowerment educator who is zealous about financial literacy. She believes that we begin to solve personal finance problems when we start with addressing our money mindset. Dr. Steve's personal motto is anything is possible with a plan. After going through a divorce at age 53 and walking away from the home she owned for 13 years, she rebuilt her credit from a low 500 scores to mid 700. She was able to grow a 5-figure emergency fund and rebuild a negative net worth into 6 figures in just over 4 years after her divorce. Dr. Steve's financial rebuild also included paying off $24,000 in student loans in under 16 months post-divorce. If that were not enough, she completed her doctoral degree at age 56, guys. Now, I have to say that this woman is beyond a trailblazer. Beyond, like y'all know my mantra is let's dominate. Y'all know we say that for years. Every time we do an event, we're like 1, 2, 3, let's dominate. And she is absolutely a dominator. And I'm so happy to have her on here. So without further ado, let me add Miss Steve's on. Dr. Steve, how are you?
Hey, everyone. I am so happy to be here. I am doing well.
Great. And I know you before we hopped on here, you said how you've been studying all day and you're just always busy. So I want to give you guys sort of like a backstory with Dr. Steve and I. I believe you watched me on a StreamYard show, live stream reviews that I did as a co-host with Christian, and we started sort of following each other, right? And so I was checking out your channel and really enjoying a lot of the information that you have to share, because you just don't talk about what's on the surface. Like, you really dive deep into your zone of genius, which totally makes me binge watch your content, which I love. But yeah, I want, like, what brought you, Dr. Steve, to wanting to do this? Because, you could have done anything. So what really brought you to start your business?
Well, I had been teaching personal finance for, maybe 15 years or so in my church. Mm-hmm. It was just, I had a natural bent towards money and handling money. People would always see me and think I have more money than I did because of the way I carried myself and the way I handled my money. Yeah. So I had been teaching it for a while. And as I got older and, with me going, so I knew what to do, first of all, when I went through my divorce, and how to restructure my, my finances.
Right.
And so I thought, well, I'm getting older. What is something I can do? Because I want to get out of the corporate rat race. And then I started thinking of my love of helping people with their finances. And I thought, why not make it into a business? Because I had done, tax business before. I had some other things that I've done, but I thought this is something that I'm passionate about. I enjoy it. And I love seeing the light bulb go off in people's eyes when they get the concept. and they're able to apply it, and it makes a difference. So that's one of the reasons, the main reason why I started my business, and knowing that other women are in situations like mine, where they're older, they're in their 40s, their 50s, and they're pretty much starting over. And I want to give them hope that, and as I said, anything is possible with a plan. So I want to give them that hope. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to make this official and started my business.
Right. Because, as you mentioned on one of your shows, a lot of times women think once they reach a certain age or a certain transition in their lives, it's like they just think that's it. The way things are now is the way things are always going to be. And I'm all about how, as a woman, just as a person in general, you can always constantly, continuously reinvent yourself. You become anything you want to be at any age you want to become. Because like one of my clients, Daryl, always says, she talks about how your subconscious mind has no sense of time. So if you want to change and transition to something new in life, your subconscious mind is like, okay, let's go. Because it doesn't have no sense of time. It's not looking at the fact that it's 2021 or the fact that you're 65 years old. It's looking at something you want to accomplish and how can we, tap into your resources to make it happen. So I'm so glad, that you mentioned that, which brings me to this next question, because I always say, y'all know in this show, I always say, you can't help everybody. Okay. You just can't. You can't help everybody, and nor do you want to work with everybody, because you mentioned in your bio was something so quintessential when you talked about money mindset. And money mindset is different. A lot of people have money trauma. A lot of people have different relationships with money. A lot of people are they're stuck in their ways on how they spend money and how they look at money. But let's draw that line in the sand. If you could just share with us, who is your target audience and why?
Yeah, my target audience is women over 40, because I can speak their language. The personal finance stuff I share can be applicable to anybody, but the people that I am more wanting to help and who I think I can relate better to are people who are over 40, because that's when I had to restart. Well, I started in my 50s, but in their 40s, they're going through a divorce. They've gone through a divorce. They've lost a spouse. They've lost a child. So now they have to revamp their personal finance. So that's my audience. Women over 40 years old who are looking to rebuild their finances, who are looking to strengthen their financial position. That's my key target audience.
That's right. And having that desire, like you said, who are looking to strengthen it, who have that desire to make a change. I think that's very important, because not everybody who has financial issues or wanting to look to, level up their finances is actually ready for that transition. They're mostly talking about the problem. I'm pretty sure you get that, where they're just talking about inventing, but more when you start to say, okay, let's work through the process. It's like, okay, you have to do the work. It's like sometimes clients come to me and they're like, okay, I thought you're supposed to be doing this for me. Like, no, you have to still get out there and do the work, where we'll assist you along the process. So, Dr. Steve's like, what can someone expect from working with you? Because I know before we hopped on here, I did talk to you about how it's like, there's so many people that do what you do, but what can someone expect from working with you?
What they can expect is doing the work, as you said. My function as a personal finance coach and counselor is to give you options and provide support and guidance, because personal finance, again, is personal. Yeah. So if I tell you, you need to budget, you need to do this, you need to do that, you have no stake in the game. So I'm going to direct you. I am going to give you the education. I am going to give you the information, and I will help you craft a plan. But you are in the driver's seat. You determine, first of all, what your values are, and you're going to drive your goals based on those values. Then I'm going to take those goals and I'm going to help you shape them into something that will help you achieve the goal. So my job as counselor, it's pretty much like I'm a tutor. It's,
I like that.
Do the work. You have to do the work, but I'm here to guide you. I'm here to provide support. I'm here to recharge you if you are going off course. But again, my job is simply to be the steering, to steer you where you need to go, to guide you, to support you as you accomplish your goals. Because the bottom line is, no matter what I put together for you, I'm not going to be there with you day to day. You are going to be by yourself.
Yep.
And so if your values, if you have a goal and the values that you have to drive those goals, and you don't do what you need to do, there's nothing I can do.
Exactly.
I could create a budget for you, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to guide you in creating it.
Yes.
But if you don't want it, when you go out there away from that office for that 30-minute or that 1 hour session, you're not going to do what you need to do.
Exactly.
So when you have stake in the game and you know what it is that you want to accomplish, and you tell me, this is what I want to accomplish, and this is why I want to accomplish what I want to accomplish, then I'm going to give you the tools, I'm going to give you the resources, but it's up to you to execute.
Yes.
That's my job.
I love that. So what popped in my head just now is, do you feel that somebody always throughout their whole life is going to need someone like you who is a financial empowerment educator? Or is it like they take your course and that's it? They're able to use the tools and leverage it forever?
I hope not, because my job is to help you so that you become independent.
Okay.
My job is to put myself out of a job.
Right.
After I coach you.
Yes.
So we have to decide based on, what it is. Are you really, really deep in debt? How much work is it going to take to get you to where you want to get to? And based on that, it's going to depend on how long we work together.
Right.
But my job is not to have you as a client forever. It is to get you to where you can be who you need to be and get on your, do what you need to do. And occasionally you might want to check in and, do some recon of, your finances, or your goals may change. Maybe you get married, maybe you have
yes, lifestyle stuff.
So,
lifestyle.
So we can do some recon, but my job is to put myself out of a job.
I totally want to say, and becoming independent, because they're always relying on you. Then how is things going to change? And another point that you mentioned, you said, because there's a lot of people who do what you do that offer budgets. That's part of their course, what they give out, where they're actually creating financial budgets for clients. But you mentioned something about how you help them create their own budget. Talk about that. Why is that something that you do?
Because it's their money.
Yeah.
It's their values. It's their goals. So I may provide you a template. I'm going to provide you the guidance, but I'm not going to do it for you.
Right.
Because I don't live with you. As I said before, I don't live with you.
Right.
So if you think that, like for me, tithing is important. So if I meet with a financial advisor, I don't care how much in debt I am, I'm going to tithe.
Yeah.
So if I'm coaching someone and
I love that
tithing is important, then it's not for me to say, well, you're so much in debt that you shouldn't tithe.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you that. I am going to look at what it is that, what can we change so that you can hold on to that value.
In that seed. Yeah.
And so those are the things that I'm going to use to help you formulate your budget.
I love that.
As I said, I give you the tool and I'm going to be your guide. I'm not going to steer you wrong. I'm not going to let you do it on your own, but I will be there. And then every decision for every category is going to be your decision. Do you want to, go on a vacation? It's not for me to tell you you can't go on a vacation. I'm going to give you options. I'm going to say, well, if you were to go on a vacation, how would you be able to pay your mortgage? Based on your income that you have, how would you be able to pay your mortgage? I'm going to give you questions. I'm going to ask you things so that you can determine which one is more important. But I'm not going to tell you can't go on a vacation because your budget is bad. This is what we have to work with. And based on what we have to work with and what you want to do, let's lay them out. What's priority? What can we get done?
Yeah.
What should maybe we put at the bottom of the list? Yeah. What are your wants? What are your needs? Those are the things we're going to talk about. So I can't create a budget for you because I don't know what your wants are. I don't know what your needs are. You know those. So based on what you tell me and what what you put on the table is what we're going to use as a basis for creating that budget.
Exactly. And it goes back to what we spoke about, you and I, before we went on this live, about how what you do is there is no one size fits all. So if somebody was to create a full spreadsheet budget and say, hey, go to this link, download it and start filling it in, that's probably something that somebody else is doing that works out for their life. You know, so if you have something where you have a slot for, but yeah, you could, how much money are you going to, you know, make a budget for entertainment, make a budget for vacations, make a budget for this and that. During that person's time in life, they may not be able, that may not be something that should be on their radar. They may be so high in debt. They're like, you know what, instead of doing vacations, maybe do a staycation, or maybe, you know what I mean?
And the thing is though, you can create the budget with all those categories, but you don't have to fill them in. You don't have to, you know that these are the possibilities, and you can revamp that budget, because typically, like for my shell that I do, I put every category that you can think of on there. But it's up to the client now to say, you know what, I need to think about that. You know, I don't want to do that right now. So we can hide that row, or we can delete that row, or whatever. But I want to give you all your options. So now it's up to you to say, these are the things I want to focus on right now. Because again, the budget is not static, never static, should never be static. Never. A budget should be changing with you, with your growth, with your values, with your income, with your expense. A budget should always be changing. So it's up to now the client to see, okay, I think I want to now consider vacation. So now we start looking at your income. We start looking at everything that you have to now determine, how do we fit that vacation plan? You want to buy a car? Well, let's look at it. Let's do a buy versus lease, you know, assessment. You want to buy a house? Well, let's see, how does that fit in with your budget? So we start looking at those things. It's on the budget sheet, but you don't have to include it in your budget. It's really dependent on what it is that you want to accomplish right now.
I love that.
You can always change it.
That's right. I really, really like that you broke it down just like that, because it makes it more simple and easier to understand. And I love that. I really do. So another question I have for you is, can you share one tip that can help someone manage their spending? Because people, you know, we're in the holiday season now. People are now getting in the habit of spending a lot. I think I was looking at an article the other day, and it was saying now they're projecting that people are now going to be spending more money because of the vaccine, and now people are getting out more. So that in twos, when people are out more, they spend more money, right? So, you know, what are some tips that you can give for us girls that's, you know, going to be spending a little bit more money this year?
I actually have seen that where people are starting to spend now, because it's a little bit more open.
That's right. So that's definitely here in New York. Definitely here in New York. Definitely.
Yeah, all of that pent up demand from being inside, and now they feel like, okay, I'm free. Let me free some money.
Yes.
But you know, you really have to think about you always have to keep in mind what your goals are.
Yes, that's important.
And it's not about, you know, I've seen people who will spend, and they'll spend so much that they can't pay their mortgage. They can't pay, but they're hanging out with their girlfriends. They're going on a trip with their girlfriends.
Right.
But they can't pay their mortgage.
Right.
And so it's up to them to make the value. But one tip I would say is about car buying. And I see too many people making this mistake.
Oh, yeah. Talk about it.
Never go into the dealership. You know, very seldom do I say never in personal finance, because personal finance, again, is personal.
It's personal.
To every question in personal finance is always, it depends.
Yes.
But for this, I'm going to say, never go into a car dealership and tell them how much you want to pay per month.
Oh,
because this is what usually happens. You go in there and you say, I only want to pay $500 a month. You have the option of getting a car that maybe is $10,000, $15,000, which the payment will last maybe 3-4 years. They would more than likely put you in a vehicle, $30,000. You're still paying $500 a month.
Wow.
Except
but it's so crazy, because that's what people tell you to do, to walk in so you don't get scammed or taken advantage of, especially as a woman. Walk in, let them know, listen, this is all I got. This is all I'm going to give. You
don't want to say how much you want to pay per month. And that's the key, per month. Because you end up with a $40,000 car, and you're paying $500 a month because that's what you
Wow.
told them. Except now your car loan is 7 years. And what happens is you end up being upside down on your loan for a very long time. And that's the problem. Is not so much that you can't afford the 500, but because the loan length is so long, now you're upside down on your loan. So if anything were to happen and you can't pay that loan in 3 or 4 years, if it goes on and you have to turn that car in, you owe them money.
That's
because
right.
you're upside down. So that's one of the things you have to look at is don't tell them how much you pay per month. You go in and you know what kind of car you want, research the MSRP, what kind of discounts are being offered by the dealer, by the manufacturer, all of that. And you have a total price in mind. And then you work
total price. Yeah, I hope y'all taking notes.
Total price because again, you say 500 per month, they're gonna give you a car.
They're going to give you, but it's not going to work out in your favor.
Yeah,
it's like the house wins.
It might be a $40,000 car, which means you're on a loan forever and ever.
Wow.
So really, you don't want to tell them. That's one thing I would say. The other thing I would say is have a, if you're going to buy something, maybe like something a little, I don't know, luxury type of item. Get in the practice of giving yourself maybe a day to consider. So you go in the store and you see that fine coat.
Yes.
And you really don't need the coat.
But you want it.
But when you go in there and you see that coat, you're thinking, man, this would go so nice with all my other stuff.
Right.
And not forgetting that you already have another one in the closet with
a
tag on. But anyway, I'm not gonna talk about that one. So give yourself, some build in how long you think you should consider before you make a major purchase. Not counting a home or a car, but any kind of major purchase, like $300, $400, $500 on a pair of shoes or a coat or a piece of jewelry or something like that.
Right.
Because that's going to give you pause for thought. Because I know how we are. We go in the store and we see something, and man, I want it.
Yeah, and we're not really thinking it through. Yeah,
think all of it. But when you step back, most times you probably won't go back because you're like, no, that's not gonna fit in my budget. We can't let FOMO cause us to spend more because fear of missing out. We spend more than we should. I've been there. Okay?
We all have, absolutely.
So we have to really give some thought to, what drives those kinds of decisions, especially for something that is a little bit higher in price. And, if you have the money, if you have the extra money, go for it.
Yeah.
But considering all the other balls that you're juggling in terms of expenses, it might not be the time to do it.
It may not.
Yeah,
it may not. And no one's saying that you shouldn't have a great life and enjoy things and things like that. But we also have to understand that we have to, have a plan. Have a plan so that you can have endless, possibilities in life. Because how many times we purchase something like, oh man, if I had waited, I probably wouldn't have purchased it, or I probably would have gotten it at a more reasonable price or better price, or not, like I said before, not even gotten it at all. Right?
Yeah. I always think of my 80 or 90-year-old self, and what do I want to be doing at 80 or 90 years old?
Right. Some people are not thinking that far ahead.
Scrambling for money, for pennies, because I spent all of my money on stuff that really depreciated right as soon as I bought it.
That's right.
So I have to balance. I want to have fun. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to enjoy my life. Whether it's like budgeting, and I was like, okay, I'll eat out once a week.
Yeah.
So, however whatever my choice is in terms of enjoying life, I'm going to make those choices, but not to the detriment of my 80-year-old self.
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's where we have to balance.
We have to.
What my girlfriends are doing, I don't care about what my family's doing.
Right.
Because they're not rescuing me.
Exactly. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because how many times it's still that keeping up with the Joneses mentality is still around. It has gotten even more prevalent because of social media. It's like back
Yes.
in the day, you could sort of hide and fake the funk. Now it's like it's so out there that everyone's like, yeah, you know, it's on such a massive.
And a lot of what we're
level.
seeing are not real. Okay.
Yeah,
So
girl.
don't get
Yes,
caught up in
I
what you
learned that the
see.
hard way. You know, and y'all know, y'all who've been watching this show for a long time, I've shared my story. I definitely learned that the hard way, and that's how the reality of this situation with most people is that it's a big eye opener when you really see, you know, how people are, how they present themselves online versus the reality of the situation. So it is what it is. It is what it is. So our next question for you is, what is your long-term goal for your business? Because, you know, this is something that you could probably do forever, right? Because I feel like with your industry, there's always a need. But what are your long-term goals?
Well, I spoke with you a little bit before that I was studying all day. Well, tomorrow I take my accredited financial counselor exam. So it's a 3-hour exam.
Yes.
And so
I can't even pay attention for that long with all these kids I got, you know, 3 hours.
So I'm just looking at the exam and I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready. And then today I said, I was going to call them and ask if I can push it back till next Saturday. But if I follow my mind, I will keep pushing it.
Right.
Thinking I'm not ready. But, you know, that's one of the things I want to have, that accreditation, because what that does is allow me to be able to say I am versed in, I mean, I am already versed in those things because I've been doing it, but the accreditation lends a little bit more credence to it. You know, I can help you with your loan, with your looking at your loans. I can't offer you loans. I don't do investment because a financial counselor or coach doesn't do that. They shouldn't. Right. They shouldn't give you advice on investments or any of that, but I can help you explain. I can educate you.
Right.
So that when I send you to my referral network, you know exactly what it is.
Right. I like that. I really do. And I think that it's very important, especially since there's such a huge saturation of people who are just giving advice, but not have went back and actually educate themselves. Like what you're doing is like you're sharpening your knife. Because you never know.
I will never stop being a student of personal finance.
Yeah, and you want to work with all types. Like, you have your target audience, but when it comes to a challenge, you want to like broaden up. Like, okay, I know I can help you with this, and also this as well. So, sort of like multiple things that you can.
Yeah, and I'm one of the other legs of my goal is to speak to women's group. About personal finance. Actually, next Saturday, I'm going to be talking with a group of women about personal finance.
Right.
Because I get such a charge and such a high from talking about personal finance. I can talk about this for days and days and days.
Yes, I love that.
You know? So that's one of the things I want to do. I want to do speaking engagements. And right now I'm volunteering with Hope, Operation Hope.
Yes.
And teaching high schoolers, middle schoolers about personal finance, credit.
That's good, because that's the foundation.
Banking, all of that. Because a lot of them, they're not, not a lot, for the majority of kids in school are not taught personal finance.
No, they're not.
What they see their parents do is typical of what they emulate.
That's their schooling. That's their education from watching the parents.
So those are some of the things that I am really wanting to do in my business, because I want to get the message out. I want to help as many people as possible, because it hurts my heart when I see people on the news paying 20-something% for a car that doesn't even run well. And usually it's my people who are in that position.
Right. 100%.
Or they're upside down in homes, or they're getting homes because they're not educated about, the choices that they have. And that bothers me, because the information is there. So if I can make a difference in just one person's life, then it's worth it.
It absolutely is. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because again, the fact that you're offering that is something essential, because a lot of people don't think that there's services like that or awareness places like that where you can have that conversation. So I really want to dive in now just a little bit deeper into what you do. So I know we mentioned this before throughout the whole show about how there's so many people out there who do exactly what you do or something similar to it. What makes you different from everyone else out there?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I do know that my experiences and what I had to go through to get to where I am creates a feeling of empathy for people that I'm going to be serving. or that I am serving right now, because it's more than just knowledge. It's more than providing knowledge to people. It's more than telling them about budgeting, teaching them about budgeting, teaching them about all these different, it's more than that. It's how can we have transformation? And that is my goal. My goal is not to be a millionaire out of this. If it happens, fine, but that's not my goal. My goal is not to, be on the news or any of that with my personal finance. My goal is to impact and transform lives with my personal finance content. And so I don't know what other people are doing or what their goals are, but I do know that the empathy from having gone through it. And I question God, why me? I mean, I'm good with money. I know how to do this. Why do you allow me to go through this? And, it's like the Holy Spirit said to me, you need to do this to be able to help other people, because I fought and fussed because this doesn't make sense. I'm a tither. I do this. I do this. I do that. Why did I go through this? But it wasn't for me. It was for me to be able to minister to other women.
Wow.
And so that is, I think, what makes me different.
Right.
My passion, my empathy, and my goal to impact and give hope to women, knowing that if I can do it, you can do it. There's nothing stopping you. You may not do it at the pace that I'm doing it at. It may take you longer. It may take you a shorter time, but you can do it. You can accomplish financial independence. Just put the plan in place and we can make it happen.
That's right. That's right. You mentioned something about what you went through in the past and how you went through that, your divorce and losing your home, that you have for 13 years and having that low under 500 credit score, and being the fact that that is such a private thing. Nobody talks about like that at all, because there's always a lot of shame involved when people are going through that. So, what has helped you, other than God, to arrive to where you are at today, to not just want to fix your own credit, but also and just change your whole financial portfolio, but also now help others do the same thing?
Well, first, you mentioned something about shame, and that's something that I want to normalize the personal finance discussion. Just like we go to the movies and we talk about the latest movie we saw. Right. When our girlfriends meet up, we should talk about our credit. Ooh. We should talk about saving. Yes. We should talk about why is there such a stigma on money? I don't have to tell you how much I make. Yeah. But I should be able to have a conversation. Hey girl, I see you buying them shoes. How's your credit?
Well, you know what I'm saying, girl, ain't none of your business.
We should be able to have that if we're girlfriends. We should have that conversation. Yes. And so I want to normalize that. But what was the original question you asked me?
The original question is how you spoke about how you went through the divorce. You had the home and no longer had it, and what really brought you to arrive to where you're at today, and then teach it to other people, because a lot of people fix their situation and then that's it. They move on.
Well, for me, it was knowing that somebody helped me at first, because I had a personal finance. I had a CFP who helped me look at my finances at first. And I'm a self-starter. And there are a lot of people who are not like that. So they're not self-starters. So they need somebody to hold their hand. I didn't need somebody to hold my hand. I just needed somebody to give me that first spark. Yes. And so with me being a self-starter, I know that there are a lot of people who are not that. So I want to give people who are not self-starters, I want to give them the tools and give them the help that they need to get to where they need to go.
That's good. So, that's good.
Because again, for me, I would have never thought that I would have lost my house. This is not my first house. I had a house before I got married. And then this one I bought with my spouse. And of course, he wouldn't leave the house and all this stuff. And so by the time I went back to court and did all that stuff,
all that,
my credit went, and so all the things that I was teaching to people are the things that I was able to apply. So I know it works.
Yes, I love that, because you also said something before we started the show about some of the stigmas that people will say, other people who do what you do will say, well, don't be taught by somebody who has gone through credit hardships. You should only sort of work with people who always had over 700 credit score and all these things. And I know you said, you know, that's not always a good thing, because everyone starts different. Like, you may have had a ton of financial education growing up. Parents may have helped you throughout half of your life. So obviously you were very well prepared. You know, not that there's anything wrong with that, because I do believe in generational wealth. So if nobody's going to tell me I can't give my kids a better financial future. But it's good to also get that advice from you as well, because you dug yourself sort of out of that grave. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I hate when people say stuff like that. Or hate is a strong word. I get it. Say stuff like that, because all of us started somewhere.
Yeah.
My clients are not going to be somebody who was ultra rich.
Yep.
Who just probably need to learn about investments. That's not my client. That's not my client base. There are people who serve that client base.
Right.
So we need people for every single type of client base. So because I have gone through it, I can help someone. I can encourage them. I can guide them, different from somebody who always had financial education, who always knew what to do.
Right.
So for somebody to say you shouldn't be teaching personal finance because you went through, whatever, or you are going through whatever. I say no, because I point to Dave Ramsey. I point to Suze Orman. I point all these people. The reason they're able to teach effectively the way they are teaching is because they have gone through the financial upheaval.
Right.
And so that because they've gone through it, they can talk to you about the pitfalls and things that you can do when you get in those pitfalls. Because none of us are perfect. We all, as much as I know about finances, as much as I've been spending hours studying, I still make decisions on emotion. Because money is an emotional thing.
Yes.
Money is not a money decision.
Exactly.
Money decisions are based on emotions.
Right.
Emotions drive money. So we all make this, decisions that we look back in hindsight and we're like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
So for somebody to say you can't teach or you shouldn't because your credit was never ever pristine, how do you relate to somebody whose credit needs to be built?
That's right. You're 100% right. And I really see you doing podcasts like Dave Ramsey, because I listen to his podcast from time to time and how he brings guests on. And there's more people that will come on a podcast and ask them a question, because they're not like this, where you see their face and all this stuff. So they may feel some sense of shame of being on like a live show, but a podcast, they have no problem calling in, because they can just say, well, my name is Susie, but my name is really Rebecca, or something like that. So
I really do repurpose some of my content into podcasts. And sometimes I do have people on just on the podcast.
Yeah, it's like a live podcast. Like that's your thing, live podcasting. So you really get to speak to like real people and they will call. They will call, because there's a lot of people trying to get out of a financial situation to make their financial situation better. So I that just literally popped in my head just now. Really did. But yeah, so you mentioned how you talked about how money's being an emotion, right? And in your bio, you said a word, money superpower. What is that money superpower?
It's just, to me, money superpower is just the ability to know how to handle your money.
Okay.
It's the ability to take your money and make it do what you want it to do.
Right.
Because if you don't have, Superman was, he was just an ordinary person, but he had some things that he could do to magnify his ordinariness. And to me, money superpower is taking your financial literacy, knowing what you need to know about money, and magnifying your ability to make that money go further, to make that money do what you want it to do.
That's right. Because you can.
To me, that's what money superpower.
Because and the reason why that popped in, when I saw that in your bio, I was like, you know what? I'm tired of women saying they can't afford. I'm tired of women saying that like they're always going to be in the project, so they're always going to be, you know, in financial hardship for whatever reason, and they just, like you stay stuck in that negative space when you don't realize that you have money superpowers, you have lifestyle superpowers, you can change your life for however you want. So when you mentioned that in your bio, I was like, okay, I got to bring that.
Yeah, and the thing is too, it's not even anything. You don't have to do any major anything. You don't have to do some big thing to move forward in your finances.
Right,
just the small incremental changes, just those incremental changes. I posted something on Twitter the other day and I said, my personal finance story is not one of paying off hundreds of thousands of dollars in 12 months, or, you know, that's not my personal finance story. My personal finance story is making incremental changes that created incremental improvement.
That compound effect is real.
Yeah. So you don't have to be intimidated because you can't pay off $100,000 in a year. If you can pay off $5,000 in a year, more power to you.
Right.
That is something to be celebrated. Right. And so we need to stop comparing ourselves. Where is your lane? Yeah. What is it that you can do? Celebrate that. Yeah. And not compare yourself to other people, because at first I was like, I have, you know, my story is not $100,000 and $200,000 in 27 months and all that stuff. And then I'm like, well, my story relates to, can women who are in my position, who maybe their loan or their expenses or whatever is just a $20,000 or $10,000 or $15,000. That's my people. I can relate to them. They can relate to me. Because they may not be $100,000, $200,000 that they're paying off. That number scares them. But they can relate to the fact that I paid off my $24,000 in 16 months. They can relate to that.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, so we just have to, what our money superpower is taking what we know and applying it and magnifying our situation, making our situation better, just using what we have.
That's right.
Just using what we have.
I love that, using what we have. And there's this new thing that I'm even learning about, talking about good debt, how, and that's blew me away. Like, what, is there such thing as good debt? And when it was explained to me, I was like, oh, I get it. I'm not going to get into it tonight because that's, again, I'm still understanding, but it's because obviously I'm in the investment stage of what I'm doing.
I mean, that's that bring a return, right?
Yes. But I know
there is no good debt, but I believe there is, because if it brings a return, it's good debt.
Yeah, maybe that could be a separate show, because I know everybody's gonna have tons of questions about that. But again, it's like opening your mind to, as you get through one hurdle, it's like you're opening your mind. Like financial literacy is like this huge world, you know, that again, when you get to one phase, you just go to a next one. So I love that. So my last question, I have to give this last question a credit to, am I echoing?
No, you're not.
Okay. Zan the Man, I was on his show a couple of weeks ago, and he asked me this question, so now I always ask it on my show, which is, can today's woman have it all, and why?
Well, it depends on what the all is.
Yes.
It depends on what the all is, right? Because whatever you define all as, you could possibly have it, but it all depends on what you define your all as. Because if you're saying, okay, can I be 100% 9-to-5er, have my business on the side, have my kids, be room mom, no, you can't have it all. You can't do it all.
Yep, no, you can't.
So it all depends on what you define as all, and what you make priority for that all.
That's right.
That would be my answer.
That is a great answer. It really is
your all.
Yeah, and that's the normal answer for across the board with everybody. Like, what is your all? Not the all that's of somebody else. Like, what is yours? So thank you so much, Dr. Steve, for being on this show. Okay, because I know you're a busy woman, and I'm trying to chase you down for months now. But so how can people connect with you? Guys, y'all make sure that y'all or subscribe to her YouTube channel. I actually put her information in the description section if you're watching this on YouTube. But yeah, how can people connect with you?
Well, they can connect with me on my website. I have a lot of resources there on my website, which is sevtalksmoney.com. So they can, once they get to the website, they'll find my YouTube links, they'll find my podcast links, they'll find my Instagram, they'll find all of that good stuff on there. And I also offer a free 15-minute consultation to see if we are a good fit, because I want to make sure that I can serve whoever comes to me. And so that 15-minute consultation is to see, are we a good fit? Does the service I provide will that satisfy what it is that you're looking for?
Right.
And I have a lot of referrals that I can send out depending on what it is. I mean, I can do things like I can help you evaluate a job offer to see, does it make sense when you're comparing job offers? These are things that I can offer. These are services.
Oh, that is great.
I can help you say, okay, I'm buying a house and this is the other house, because sometimes the highest salary is not the best salary. So these are services that I can offer. So the 15-minute consult is just to kind of talk through. I don't provide solutions during that time because I do have some paid services. And so that 15-minute consultation is just to kind of see what it is you're looking for.
Yep, it's not about ear hustling her, y'all.
I'm not going to take your money. I'm not going to take your money if I can't give you the service.
Exactly. I love that.
I see it happen too many times.
And you made a post, I think it was today that talked about that, about people being honest and transparent to say, listen, you know, like they'll just take, you know, the client's money, but really internally they know they can't help them. I think it was today or yesterday.
You know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Integrity carries a lot of weight.
It's everything.
Because integrity will create referrals.
Hands down, every time. So thank you so much for being on the show. I hope to have you on the show again, you know, as we get into next year. And because I know people wanting to start off the new year, you know, with getting their financial futures in order. So I definitely want you back on the show for the first quarter of next year. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. Make sure you're following Dr. Steve. She's just amazing. She has a talk show right here on YouTube. You definitely want to tune into that. She had amazing guests on last week, I think it was. They talked about business credit, which I know is something that, you know, people always have 1,000 questions about. So definitely go check that episode out. And thank y'all so much for watching and tuning in. Thank you, Dr. Steve, for coming on, and good luck on that test tomorrow.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it. And thank you to everyone with your comments and everything. I appreciate you.
Right. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. So that is all that I have for you guys today. As I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Thank you so much, Patricia, Walter, Treese, Shar. Thank you, Shar, for hopping on. Diane, thank you, ladies, for joining and making the show what it is. And if you haven't shared this out, share this out, or tag someone on here who you feel that would need this information. As always, don't forget, get out there and dominate, because it's time to design the life that you, in fact, deserve. Till next time, bye, guys.